Good day and welcome back to my channel. I have another unboxing for you, and this is for a Locust Battlemech in 1/60th scale, also from FCY. This particular subject is actually the Battlemech that got me really into the concept of 1/60 scale Battlemechs. Way back when, I don't know, a couple decades ago, there was someone who had done a gaming miniature sized Battlemech, and I just thought it was the coolest thing. It was in a magazine, and it was a Locust. And this was before any of the, I think it was right about the time that the stories from Michael Stackpole about the Fourth Succession War were getting published. So it was very, very early on, and I don't know if I can find a picture of it. I'll put it up here. But this is the subject. The Locust was the first one that got me into the concept of doing larger scale Battlemechs, and I remember I had built one out of a dental floss case. This is one that FCY has released recently. It is currently spring going into summer of 2021, and they are available. If you want to look them up, I'll put a link down below. But let's go ahead and get cracked in, take a look at what's in here. This showed up today. I didn't expect it. I knew I'd ordered it some time ago. Didn't expect it to show up today. But here it is. And let's take a look at what's inside the box. Let's see what we have here. And this is patterned after the MWO, so it's got some MWO features and some old school features, so it's sort of a hybrid, and that's actually pretty cool. So let's go ahead and start with the cockpit here. And this is the first time I've seen a Locust that actually has a cockpit that looks to be legit. So case in point, here is a 1/28 scale, or a 28 millimeter 1/60 scale figure, and that's the Battlemech. And so for a change, we actually have a figure or a cockpit for a Locust that fits. A lot of the Locust ones were like really, really narrow in the front and really didn't look, it looked like the pilot actually had the pilot laying down. I see the same thing with Jenners. Jenners have this really, if you actually go with what's drawn, they've got this really low front, and there's really not much room for the pilot. This is really nice. If we go ahead and look around, we've got some nice detail, not a lot of like greeblies, but then this is, it's a Battlemech. You really don't see a lot of greeblies, and I like the way this looks. So the detail we do have is really nice. It makes sense. It doesn't look out of place. Those are actually smooth right there, but they'll take nice intakes if you want to go that route. Then this right here is the connection point for laser, which is again very iconic for the Locust. No flash. I see really very little cleanup that has to be done, like just a little bit on the corners here, but I'm not even seeing the seam lines, which again is a hallmark of Tim's work. Take a quick look at the laser. Very nice. Again, you can kind of sort of see the seam a little bit if you go looking. A little bit of cleanup, and then you're good. And then that will go on to the front. It fits very well, and it makes sense. So if you want to make it movable, right, you can magnetize it because it's very easy. Or you can just glue it in. No worries. So very nice there. These are the two arms. Locust really don't have ours, so there's one of our seams to clean up. You can see again, this is something he does, is the seam goes near a corner and near an edge so that you can clean it up. You get a little bit right here on that round part, but you really can't avoid that. Otherwise, the work is really nice. Very nice. There's that one, and there's this one. Little cleanup right there to do. That happens. A little bit of cleanup here on the barrel. But again, nice. Very nice. And then those will go And actually, so, all right, so that's dry fit, right? That's actually very tight. So that one is very tight, and that one is very tight. So those are both, they go on quite tight and fit very well. Then we have our torso, or our hip joint. That's loose, so you'll probably want to, and again, this depends on what you want to do. If you're going to do it as with movable parts or make it turn, then just drop a magnet in there and you're good. So this is your hip. I'm assuming, like, figuring out which is the front and the back, I actually have to look. I'm thinking this is the front, this is the back, just by virtue of how it looks. But even your machinery parts right there for the hips, right, they actually look really nice. Having to look to find the seam, and I'm really not finding it. So yeah, nice again. So upper hip, right? So this is one, they will go in here. That goes there. And this is a bird walker, right? So this would go in there. So it's backwards, chicken walker, whatever word you want to use. And you have a ball socket joint, so it can flex. Now that's one of the interesting things about the Locust is the position of this, right? Because it doesn't have a lot of wiggle, it can actually do that in the hip. So it can take like a spread leg. So you can fiddle with that. So that's nice. That one's a little bit tighter than this one, but it can take a position as opposed to having to be just flat going back and forth. Actually, I think I might have this backwards now that I look at this. I do have it backwards. So I did have it backwards. Or do I? Yeah, so there we go. See, there we go. It takes a little bit of looking here. So, yeah, this is our front. So if we call this the front, that's how that would go. That'll go there. This one will go here. And those are our fronts. These pieces look also really nice. And then this here is our knee joint or whatever kind of joint. Trim that up a little bit, and then that'll just slot right in there. Now, you're going to want to pin that, obviously, but it is positionable. You can pick where you want it to go, and it'll just slot on. So pick where you want it to go, how you want it to go, and then drop her in. Really is pretty straightforward. Very nicely done. Very nicely done. So this is the actual joint, or the actual shin, I guess. Again, there's your seam right there along that edge, so it's, again, very easy to clean up. And then we have our feet. And then, so again, this drops into here. So it's very, very positionable, right? So, I mean, you could have the thing all the way squatted down or standing up or however. And if you want to be creative, right, and you want the thing stepping and having the toes moving, you can do a little bit of work with the joints and then do that. But that just drops right there and you're good to go. So there's our foot. And that's pretty much what gives you the directional piece. And you've got some nice detail on the bottoms here. A couple bubble places, but they are on the bottom of the feet. And so fill it, and for the most part, those are just going to be sitting down anyway. So again, nice. Very well done. A little bit of cleanup right there. So yeah, so the cleanup for this, yeah, it does exist. There is a little bit of cleanup that needs to be done, but it's not difficult. It's actually what you would expect from a resin kit. And I really want to point out a couple things on this, right? So the big thing is 3D printing, right? Everybody's all into 3D printing and 3D print this and 3D print that. And there is a distinct difference between 3D printing and resin casting. And this is a resin cast. I'm not going to have to clean up artifacts. I don't have to cover up those layers where they are. The detail shows, right? The detail is nice and clean, like even in there. Let's get that there. Even in there, right? So the detail is the cleanup for this is the cleanup you would have on a resin model, which is filling things like little bubbles, if you care for something on the bottom of a foot. And those are like one of the only places I've seen one for, and they're not even going to be seen. But look at these slopes, right? Smooth, 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 smooth. This is put together paint and go. Now personally, I've always wanted to do an open cockpit, so I could do that with this. So like this thing here, right? The cockpit glass itself is square. So I literally could cut that out, hollow this out, build a cockpit inside and show and scratch build the canopy, with little or no issue. But the quality is just superb. Absolutely superb. So, like I said, yeah, do you have cleanup? Yes, it's a resin kit. But it is a resin kit that is very well engineered, and it is beautiful. This is absolutely beautiful. I'm very much looking forward to doing this and putting this one together. Just need to come up with a good color scheme for a Locust and just figure out how I'm going to do, because I'm going to have to do the cockpit, right? So at some point there will be a build series on this thing. But with that said, this is the 1/60 scale Locust Battlemech from FCY. Again, I will put the link down below. And yeah, if you're interested at all in his work and in this kit, please feel free. That's what's in the box. So, until then, I hope this was helpful, and happy modeling.
Reactor online. Sensors online. Weapons online. All systems nominal.